Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. That's right, this is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. Happy to be here with you today. So, this is a special episode. It happens to be October 27th, and it's 3:56 a.m., so it'll be posted a little bit later than that. And this is going to be brief. I just could not go to sleep tonight. It's been a very active night. It's been a very busy night. There is a lot going on. Now, as you have probably heard by now, very simply, there is Amy Coney Barrett. Amy Coney Barrett, otherwise known as ACB. She is now officially Justice Barrett, something that we had predicted on this program before and now is an actual fact. Back in, I believe it was September 20th, we had first called it. And so we have been proven correct. And this is probably one of the more famous photos that we're going to see for her for probably some time, when we saw Justice Barrett prove her intelligence, go through all of the questions that she was being asked at the confirmation hearings by the Senate, by Democrats in the Senate. And throughout that entire process, we were hearing one thing over and over and over again: pack the court. That Democrats were threatening that if she had been nominated, if she were to get approved and appointed to the Supreme Court, the Democrats were going to retaliate if they win an election by, as soon as they can, to be able to pack the courts. This is a dangerous and horrible idea, quite honestly. And with the fact that she did, in fact, we saw, ACB got nominated, and she went through the process and was stellar. I mean, there is no one who can question that she is a qualified woman. She is a qualified lawyer, a qualified jurist, judge. She's a qualified teacher of law. There is no question on her qualifications. So the Democrats are upset because of politics, because they wanted the seat. They wanted the opportunity to put in their own judge, because they don't like the idea that the Supreme Court now has a 6-3 lean towards the right instead of leaning to the left, as it has been pretty consistent for a couple of decades now. So the Democrats are upset. They didn't get their way. They are upset. Basically, they're spoiled and they're whining about it. But their whining has a very dark and serious tone to it. And I've been watching it all night long following this. So I want to go over that with you a little bit, because the ramifications based on the 2020 election are going to be very serious for all of America if these Democrats who are making these calls get to have power. And I want you to understand what I'm talking about. Now, it's been in the last few hours, well, easiest way to do it is we've seen that there has been a spike, a massive spike in pack the court. There is a deep, deep demand for that idea. And in fact, if you go down, you'll see it's breaking out Amy Coney Barrett confirmation. Is it possible to pack the Supreme Court? We're looking at, is Joe Biden going to pack the court? Excuse me. There's a lot of questions about this. Democrats are very interested, it appears, to want to pack the court. In fact, one of the things we're doing right now is, if you go to our Twitter account, which is the @MVConsult, you will see our poll that we just put up. It'll be up for 3 days. We're looking forward to seeing your comments on this, that Justice Barrett, or Justice ACB, which is trending right now, hashtag Justice ACB, is the reality. Will that make you vote for or against President Trump and the entire Republican Party straight down the line? Or if you have already voted early or mailed in your ballot, do you wish that you could change your vote? Which is something else that we've seen that has been trending and tracking very high. We've already seen over 2 million hits for Justice Barrett. We've seen, or Amy Barrett, Amy Coney Barrett, has been about 2 million hits on that. We see that what is trending is change your vote or pack the courts are all trending exceptionally high. They've been up over 100% in the last 24 hours. And it just makes you wonder, because we know that back on October 7th, the YouGov poll, Washington Examiner YouGov poll, said that 47% of voters opposed packing the court. That's really important. That 47% of voters said they don't want to see Democrats just shove in as many justices as they can until they have the majority that they are desperately seeking. Now, at the same time, it is also in that same poll, about half of registered voters, 51%, say that the Senate should not begin considering a nomination until after the presidential inauguration. Yes, there were a bunch of people who did say that as well. So the question comes back to, did you vote based on the potential of Amy Barrett becoming a Supreme Court justice? And if you haven't, is that changing the way you vote? Now, we believe, and I think it was on September 20th on this program, that we had first said that because of Ruth Bader Ginsburg being dead and the nomination process going forward, we expected that would shift polls by about 10%. The Democrats who had no intention of voting, that had no interest in Joe Biden, that had rejected Kamala Harris from back when she was in the nomination process and amongst the 20 some odd Democrats was thrown out with the bathwater, not getting more than 5% of approval from Democrats themselves. So we thought that would shift it by 10% because people who had no interest are now jumping into the race. They're now excited to try and get Joe Biden in, see him replaced by Kamala Harris, and see Kamala Harris take on a very progressive movement and get in as many justices as possible. Now, that also requires that Democrats would have to win 4 Senate seats, which is not necessarily clear that they would be able to do that under normal circumstances. This is anything but. And we have to ask, what is the voice of reason in all this? Because there really isn't much reason. In fact, according to Ted Cruz, when he made his statement at about midnight, he mentioned, they're telling you their plans. Pack the court, destroy the Constitution, overturn your fundamental liberties. Now, and he's referring to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But is he right? Is that really what we're hearing from Democrats? Well, let's take a real good look. Alexa has a comment on here. My stepdad is a civil rights lawyer and wants to pack the court. I'm astounded. The Libertarian Pirate says, ask him how many justices he wants Trump to appoint. Yeah, that would be putting him in a conniption, apparently. So that's a little bit lighthearted. But what do we see from people like, what about Kamala Harris? Well, Kamala Harris says that today Republicans denied the will of the American people by confirming a Supreme Court justice through an illegitimate process. Key word there, illegitimate process, all in the effort to gut the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and strip health care from millions with pre-existing conditions. We won't forget this. They shouldn't forget this. Let's remember, first of all, it's not an illegitimate process. It is exactly what is said in the Constitution. If there is a vacancy, the president nominates and the Senate approves or rejects. It's that simple. Nothing is illegitimate about that. That is exactly what, in 2016, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said. That's what the president does. That's what the Constitution says. That's their obligation. Now, no one said that it's only if, both parts of the House or the Senate agree on this. It's not if the progressives like it, if they feel good about it. No, it's the president, whoever is the president, nominates, and the Senate will approve or reject. It's that simple. But you keep hearing from many, many Democrats, it's an illegal process, that this was evil, it's wrong, it's unfair, this shouldn't have happened. Why not? That's what the Constitution says, but they're saying that because they want you to feel bad about it. They want you to feel angry like you've been cheated. You haven't. They just didn't get the power that they wanted to have. There is a difference. We go on. Liz Wheeler says, the president has a constitutional right to nominate a SCOTUS justice. The Senate has a right to confirm the nominee. Nothing illegitimate about it. The American people voted for Trump and elected a GOP Senate. Stop pretending you're a victim. It is victimhood, which we know that Democrats love to scream about. They love to be victims. And that's what Kamala Harris is saying. Oh, woe is me. I'm a victim because I didn't get what I wanted. It's not how the Constitution works. But we go on. There is Pepper T is a very important one. Marie Popdan stands out. She says, please don't forget, I'm literally in tears. She is a soulless being, dishonoring RGB's final wish, which we don't know what it is, will bring nothing but bad karma on her. I hope all her children decide to be gay, because there's nothing wrong with that. And you're right, there is nothing wrong with being gay if someone is gay. Now, this has nothing to do with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Ginsburg. And it isn't RGB, it's RBG. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. There's absolutely nothing that was against her wishes. She said it in 2016. This is what she wanted the president to do. Now, Joe Biden, of course, being very hopeful, saying that in 8 days, we're going to take back our democracy, which is unclear and very likely wrong, and I believe incorrect. I still think, even with all this pressure, with all of this victimhood, you're going to see that Democrats are still going to fall short and that President Trump will win by 55%. Because most of the nation rejects victimhood. Most of the nation rejects identity politics and gender politics. Most of the nation believes in the Constitution as it is, not some newfangled version that is really socialism light. Most of the people in America don't want to be Venezuela. It's just that simple. Of course, there's Hillary Clinton because it was her birthday yesterday, the 26th of October, and she had the pleasure of watching a president that isn't her nominate his third Supreme Court justice pick, which she didn't like. And so she says, it's my birthday. Here's my one wish, that you reach out to one person in your life who may not vote this year and encourage them to turn out for Biden-Harris. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if they're not voting by now, if Democrats are not going out and voting right now, it's because they can't stand Biden-Harris. And if the motivation to go out and vote because of the idea of packing a court isn't motivating to them, which for the majority of people it isn't, well, then they're not going to do it. And Hillary has nothing to do about that. But what were some of the other people, regular or more regular people, say? We see from Shahil Kapoor, he's mentioning that Senator Angus King, an independent of Maine, which means Democrat, on the Senate floor tonight, quote, I don't want to pack the court. I don't want to change that number. I don't want to have to do that. But if all of this rule breaking is taking place, what does the majority expect? What do they expect? End quote. What rule breaking? The Constitution. I don't know how many times this has to be said. I don't understand why Democrats who are elected can't understand. I don't understand why any Democrat doesn't understand the Constitution. Everyone's made it out of elementary school. This is elementary. It's basic. This is the foundation of our entire government. It's simple. These aren't broken rules. Went through the process, got a vote, done. But it's because they can't accept this. They keep talking about everyone else accepting things that happen different than they wanted, yet the Democrats are the ones who can't accept it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, AOC herself. What does she say? Expand the court. Really, and she's trying to find a new way because packing the court sounds bad, because it is. So now she wants to use the term, let's expand the court. Let's just make more of the court. Really? Because you want to make it a mockery, because you want to add politics in there, because you can't accept that you lost. That's not the answer of I lost. Let's change the rules. Let's put a bias in there. Let's make it political. That's not the answer. We go on to see RBE, a RBP pundit, or RB pundit, says Republicans put in the work, won the elections, and changed the balance of the courts by filling vacancies over time, just like the Constitution intended. Democrats want to skip the hard work and pack the court because they're totalitarians. And I have to tell you, it does feel very totalitarian. When someone says, I'm going to change every law, I'm going to change every rule until I get what I want, that's totalitarian. We're going to change the laws until they're laws I like. Whether you like them or not, I'm going to keep changing them until I get what I want. When you hear Democrats say that, that doesn't sound like a democracy. It really doesn't. Spooky Celine happened to say, she's in your DMs telling you to pack the court. Your direct messages. I'm whispering in your ear to burn it down. We're not the same. She wants to burn it down. That should be scary. That should have people concerned. She wants to burn it down. We hear that a lot. We've been hearing that a lot, especially from the Antifa types, the progressive leader of tomorrow, or plot types, the people who are in BLM. They constantly have been telling us all summer long, if you don't do what we want, we're going to burn it down. That's not democracy. That's not a democratic republic. That's not freedom. That is totalitarianism. That's fascism. But we go on. One gentleman who goes by the name of God, or the good God above, okay, that's their Twitter name. And he says, I can't wait to get rid of Donald Trump and pack the court with 12 radical leftists hell-bent on making abortion mandatory. Wow. Can you go any more extreme? Not just packing the court, but packing the court with 12 people. So there would be, in effect, 21 people on the Supreme Court. 21 people. This is what they're calling for. Has 2,000 likes. You got to be kidding me. 21 people on the Supreme Court. It's a joke. And they want them all to be radical leftists, all members of Antifa. Could you imagine an America that has a Supreme Court that's run by 12 members of Antifa plus 3 other liberals? Are you kidding me? That's insane. Remember, Antifa wants all white people to give up their property. We've seen it in California. We've seen it in Seattle and Portland. There are demands from Antifa saying white people have to give up their homes. They have to give up their wealth, their property, everything. Give it to black people. That white people should apologize for being born, which I think is insane. It's horrendous. And that's what they're saying. And you want to have 12 of those types of people who are essentially, that's racism and sexism. And they want to have 12 racists on the Supreme Court. That's terrifying to me. What about the African American Policy Forum? What do they say? They got a blue check. Tired, pack the court. Wired, pack the Senate. Inspired, pack the Constitution. Really? Add 3 more justices to the bench. Really? Really, guys? That doesn't make any sense. How is that helping anyone? How does it help to try and ram in every law that you want, not because it's good for the public, not because it's good for the nation, but it's politically advantageous because you want power? How does that not change the next time there's a Republican in? How does that not split and divide the nation? How does that not tear people apart? Is anyone thinking about this on the left? We go to Georgiana Price, and she's another wonderful winner here. I don't curse much on this app, but I mean this. Pack the effing court, line up enough judges to make it look like a law school graduation, and put every damn one on the court while Mitch, meaning Mitch McConnell, watches from the sidelines with no power to stop us. Georgiana, you don't have any clue what it is to be free, do you? Because you're not asking for freedom. You're not asking for a democratic or even a democratic republic. You're asking for an outright fascist dictatorship. How's that going to help anyone? How about Brian Mara? He's quiet. He's only got one, but even though he got one like, I wanted to make sure he got noticed because he says, also, pack the court, abolish ICE, Green New Deal, Medicare for all, defund the police, progressive politics only. And the reason why I included Brian's message here is because he is the example of what we're seeing from the left right now. They don't care about what's free or just or what's the American way. They want progressive politics. They want socialism. They want power. That should terrify people. And so, yeah, I do think you should probably change your vote if you haven't. If you haven't voted yet and you are on the fence, just remember what they're saying is they're going to open up the borders. They're going to take your money and give it to illegal aliens because they deserve it. Because they didn't. They deserve it because they weren't born in America. Because they weren't born white. They deserve it. And they're going to have the Green New Deal. So you're not going to be able to drive a car anymore. They're going to destroy our cities. They want to have Medicare for all because whoever you are, you have the same exact medical health as I do. And that's whether you're a man or a woman, young or old, everyone gets the same everything because it's Medicare for all. Everyone's the same and nobody gets treated any differently. And then we turn into Canada where you're waiting 14 hours in a hospital because you have food poisoning. Or that you have to, or someone like in England where they come over to the United States for cancer treatment. Brain surgery from all around the world. They come into the United States to get brain surgery with Dr. Ben Carson. This is what they want. They want to defund the police, which in every single city in the nation throughout the entire summer, everywhere we have seen this, it has resulted in only higher crime and more shootings and more death. No one has been made safer. No one is better off. The riots that we've seen for over 130 days have destroyed buildings, homes, businesses of minorities, Black-owned businesses, Black-owned homes. It's been destroying communities. And they want to have even less police to make even more of that happen? How is that helping anyone? Not one of these ideas makes sense, but I have to tell you, Ted Cruz is right. They are telling us their plans. They are saying destroy the Constitution. They are trying to overturn fundamental liberties because they don't think you deserve them. Because you aren't worth it. Because you aren't a progressive or a socialist. And they have no idea what that means. As someone who has lived in the Soviet Union and watched the bread lines every morning for 4 hours until the bread's gone, who has watched stores remain empty for 28 out of 30 days, seeing the substandard food that's being sold to the people. Yeah, was it all cheap? Absolutely. And it was horrendous. The quality of life sucked. This is what they want to give to America? This is what they think is their utopia? Look at Venezuela. Bernie Sanders, 4 years ago, said America needed to be just like Venezuela because they got it right. They had the perfect socialism. And in those years between, what have we seen? The people are being shot by their own Venezuelan socialist government. People are eating out of dumpsters and starving to death. There is rampant disease growing in that area, and people are flooding out of that nation everywhere else they can get to. Socialism doesn't work. It hasn't worked anywhere in the world. And I know people keep saying, well, we have a better idea. You don't. You really don't. When millions, literally millions of people have tried this, lived this, and failed, you don't have a better idea. It's a bad idea. It always fails. That's it. But they're willing to go and destroy our country for that. I am scared. I am scared when I'm watching people say, pack the court, pack the court, pack the court, and not thinking of what the consequences of that are. I'll give you a great example of what I mean. Imagine you try and pack the court. They add 3, 4 more justices. And what happens when the Republicans get in? Or what happens when those justices start dying and Republicans replace those justices with more conservatives? But you're going to add more? If all of a sudden, for whatever reason, 3 justices die and the Republicans are in charge and you pack the court and now they're going to add 3 more justices, they're going to overturn it again, what are you going to do? You're going to add more? You're just going to keep adding people until you can get your way? That's about power. Think about it. That's about power. That's not about freedom. But they're going hyper on packing the courts. They're looking at changing the vote, trying to make sure Biden's going to pack the courts. And so we're going to ask you again, please, if you get a chance, take a look at this and you decide. Let us know. Is this going to change your vote? Are you more likely to vote for President Trump or less likely? If you already made your vote, are you more likely? Do you wish you could change that vote? Or are you happy with what you voted for? Let us know. We want to hear what you have to say. And remember, even if you're upset right now, whether Joe Biden wins or loses, and I think he's going to lose, it doesn't matter. American freedom, the Constitution, isn't based on what forcing people to believe what you believe. It's about working together. And packing the court isn't working together. That's about force. That's fascist. But you may disagree, so we look forward to hearing your thoughts. Tell us what you think. And until the next time, I want you to have a great day. We'll be talking to you soon.